Hello Rebels. This video is to help you complete the last part of your project, Eyewitness to the Civil War newspaper. This video will help you assemble your newspaper in the newspaper template. But before we can go there, let's talk about what you should already have. You should have already finished your research. Those are your notes, your pages of notes. You should have already turned in your citations page. This is where you keep all the resources, all the sources that you use for your investigation. Uh, I shared a document for you to type out your stories, but if you haven't typed them out, I highly recommend you type them out before you put them in the newspaper, just so you can use it as a rough draft. So this video is about completing the newspaper. This is where you will assemble your entire newspaper. So I will be providing three different templates to you. I will give you the good and the bad for all three. So one of the things you need to remember, you have the choice of choosing whichever template, but you must use one of these three templates. You cannot use your own. This is the template that I'm providing to you, and once you have the template, make sure that if you're working in groups, that one person opens up the template and then invites the group members to that specific document, so all the members of the group are there to work on the document. So the first template will be titled Newspaper Template 1 is this template. And this looks like a newspaper, right? It's formatted to look like a newspaper. So you have this opportunity to do this. It's very simple. You eventually plug in whatever you want to type, right? It's your choice. Same with pictures. You can erase this, cut it, and then paste another picture that goes with your story, whatever you decide. So this is template number 1. This is template number 2. Same idea, right? You can just plug in, type in stuff so you can work on it, right? And same thing, pictures, you can take them out, cut, and eventually paste a picture that goes with the story. The third and final template is this, right? Before providing instructions on this newspaper, I want to give you the positives and negatives of the other two templates. So the other two templates, newspaper template 1 and newspaper template number 2. As you can see, they look like newspapers. They're very flashy, they're very appealing to the eye, right? Because they look like actual newspapers. But that's the positive. The negative is that they're going to be difficult when it comes to formatting. Some stuff may change, some as you type out, some things might move to another page or another column. So know that this is looks like a newspaper. The negative is that formatting will be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. Now let's look at the third template. The idea is that this is not as flashy. It doesn't really look like a newspaper yet, but it will once you put in your stories. This is not going to be difficult to format. It was created in 3 columns, so you can whatever you type in this column will not affect what you do in this or this column. They're their own individual columns. So when you type out stuff, don't worry about anything over here moving. This will always be here. But you just have to be aware that whatever you type here, right? If you type here, this is going to start moving down. That's the only thing. But if you work top to bottom, you're going to be able to be okay with that. So let's talk about newspaper template number 3. So for this one, same thing as the others, you're gonna need a name to a newspaper. You can call it whatever you want. Anaheim Times, Savannah Times, the Savannah Tribune. So just some names for newspapers: Tribune, newspaper, Times, Journal, Gazette, Post, Daily, Weekly, Monthly. You decide what you want to call it, right? So that you need to give it a name. Be creative with that process. Be the Civil War Times. I don't know. Your choice. You can also change the text if you want to change the text. It's really up to you. So the next step is here, slogan for newspaper. So you give it somewhat of a creative slogan, for your newspaper. Um, Telling the truth since 1700. Real news for everyone. Real stories for real people. I don't know. You decide on what kind of slogan you want. For the due date of newspaper here, you'll put November 16, 2020. That'll be the date. So let's focus on the actual stories. This will be one story, and this is another. As you can see, there's 3 columns. There's 3 stories per column to equal 9. For those of you who are working by yourselves, you only need 5 of these. So you can erase the other ones once you're done typing out your stories. If you're working in groups of 2, then you will use 8 of these and you will have 1 left out. You can erase that as well. For those of you who are working in 3s, you will use every single one of these headlines. Again, this is just the standard format. You can change the location of the picture, the location of the text in within the column. That's the only drawback, right? When formatting, is that's pretty straightforward. So headline will be the title of your story. Remember, we didn't want to just have the title of the topic. We wanted you to be creative and have a creative title for your story. By author, your name. This is where you will put by and you put your first and last name. And here where it says begin story, you literally can start writing your story. You can type it out or you can just copy and paste if you have already started typing your story somewhere else. For a picture, all you got to do is go to Google Images, go get a picture. All you have to do is highlight the word pick and then paste. And then you see you inserted a picture. So remember that each story needs to have a picture and that you need to have 3 advertisement posters from the 1800s. So advertising posters, remember, are basically posters that talk about selling of a product. In your case, you need to find posters. You can find them on Google Images about items sold in the mid 1800s. Before I conclude this video, I want to remind you that make sure you add a title to the newspaper, make sure you add a slogan for the newspaper, your due date, make sure you have a creative title for each of your stories, make sure you include the author, that is you, your first and last name. Remember that your stories need to be at least 200 to 300 words. If you get closer to 300, the better the grade. And that you need to have a picture for your story. That concludes the video. I hope that you were able to learn something about how to put together your newspaper. If there are still questions about the newspaper and how to do it, make sure you email me. Make sure you show up to my office hours where I can work with you one-on-one. Thank you.